नमस्ते, प्रणाम, गीता ध्यान। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। O Bhagavad Gita, with which Lord Narayana himself gave enlightenment to Arjuna. The ancient sage Vyasa included it in the Mahabharata. O goddess, showering the nectar-like knowledge of non-dualism contained in your 18 chapters. O my affectionate mother, the destroyer of rebirth, I meditate upon thee. Now, Krishna Vandana. वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकीं परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. O son of Vasudeva, the slayer of Kansa and Chanur, extreme delight for Mother Devaki, O Lord Krishna, the supreme teacher of the universe, my salutations to you. And today we will be taking up the 20th Shloka of Karma Yoga, the third chapter, third adhyay of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Yesterday, in our previous reading, Sri Krishna has categorically told Arjuna that you have to constantly get engaged in doing the actions without attachment. Āsthitā. That āsthitā satatam karyam karma samachara. You have to constantly, you cannot avoid your karma. You cannot escape from your karma. But rather, every moment you should get engaged in doing some activity that has come to your lot without any attachment to it. And a person who does it in this manner with the āsakti, without being attached to the work, then paramapnoti purushaha, that man, he attains the supreme, he attains the ultimate knowledge. Finally, he becomes one with the self. And now, to give more confidence to Arjuna that it is not, this is not something I am talking theoretical or something, very much practical, and this has been followed by great people like you, the kings. So Sri Krishna now in the 20th chapter he is telling karmaṇaiva hi sansiddhim āsthitā janakādayaḥ loka-saṅgraham evāpi sampaśhyan kartum arhasi. Now, karmana evahi. Evahi is verily, only. Evahi karmana sansiddhim. That you can attain perfection in performing the karma. Āsthitā. This perfection is attained. Āsthitā karmana sansiddhim. Verily, the perfection can be achieved in doing the karma. Janakādayaḥ. Like the people like Janaka and others, like King Janaka and others, they have verily, indeed, of course, they have achieved perfection by performing action. Loka-saṅgraham evāpi. Loka-saṅgraham is for the protection of people. Evāpi, even also. Sampaśhyan, having in the view, with the focus on protecting your people, with the focus on guiding your people, with the focus on be a guide to your people. Kartum, sampaśhyan, having in view, kartum arhasi, you should perform the action that has come to your lot. So Sri Krishna is telling now, it is not just a humbug, some kind of a theory taken from somewhere and just making these claims. But there have been people, there have been kings like Janaka and others who achieved perfection by performing action. These are not some comic characters, or some kind of characters created in mythology. No, Krishna is telling Arjuna, people like Janaka and others, they have attained perfection. They have attained the ultimate goal by performing action, and therefore having the objective of guiding your people, having the objective of guiding your praja, you also should perform action in the same way that Janaka and other kings did, without any attachment. Keep on doing your karma. Janaka didn't focus only on self-enlightenment. No. Had it been there, he would have left the kingdom, and he would have comfortably gone to some mountain, sat in the cave, performing japa, tapa, austerities, and he would have got self-knowledge. But no, he didn't run away from his day-to-day duties as a king. He performed those duties. And while performing those duties with detached mind, with detached spirit, with no attachment to the karma, doing the duty for the sake of doing duty, for my responsibility towards my subjects, towards my praja, I have to do this, and I will do it wholeheartedly, sincerely, without getting attached to it. And through doing that action, King Janaka attained self-realization. Now, Rajarishis such as Janaka and Ashwapati were engaged in active and efficient administration of their kingdoms. They were highly efficient kings. None in their kingdom was ever, deficient in anything. They saw to it that everybody gets his due. Incidentally, they took part in several other activities conducive to people's welfare. It is not that they only spent their time doing japa and meditation and austerities. No, they were constantly engaged in performing activities for the welfare of their people. But their aim in life was more than that. The activities they were doing, they were 24 hours kind of, they were engaged in performing something for the benefit of their people. But that was not their objective. Simply doing good to the people, creating hospitals, starting schools, doing this, doing that charity. No, that was not the objective. Their objective was whatever they were doing, do it without any attachment. And the aim was very high. The aim, ultimate gain by performing the action in without any attachment was self-realization. They diligently applied themselves to self-knowledge and got it. There is an additional advantage in the spiritually enlightened taking to altruistic work. It is not just that anybody doing this work can become great like King Janaka. One has to perform the work in the spirit of King Janaka, being unattached for the welfare of the others. And on this particular thing, I remember our motto that Swami Vivekananda has given for the Ramakrishna mission and Mutt. Atmano mokshartham jagat hitaya cha. For the welfare of the world, welfare of all the people, and also for the liberation of myself. Atmano mokshartha jagat hitaya cha. If a real karma yogi works with this particular understanding that I have to perform the work without any attachment. Automatically, that work becomes for the Jagat Hitaya as well as Atmano Mokshartha. The ignorant cannot guide society any more than the blind leading the blind, but the enlightened are the best servants of society. Any Tom, Dick, and Harry cannot come and just become guide start guiding the people. Come on, I will take you ashore. That cannot happen. Only the people who have had realization, only the people who have attained spiritual enlightenment, only they can be the true guides. Otherwise, it will be blind leading a blind. The nature of karma is also very well known to them. These people who have had the self-realization, they know the hidden meaning of karma, of doing any activity without any attachment. Only then that work can become efficient. Efficient work on right lines can be turned out by these illumined people, by these illumined guides. Following in their wake, ordinary men set themselves to their duties in all earnestness. Having seen these people like Janaka, like Ashwapati, the ordinary people, they have something as a role model to follow the suit. That Janaka performed his duty as a king without getting attached to that work. Let me also, whatever work has come to me, let me perform it without any attachment. Let me gain self-enlightenment like King Janaka got it. So that is the example, the live example and most apt example that Sri Krishna has given to Arjuna in this 20th shloka. Talking about Janaka, Sri Ramakrishna also had great respect, great reverence for King Janaka. He always, while talking to his devotees and disciples, he used to quote the example of Janaka, how great he was. A king performing all the duties for his kingdom, but still he remained unattached. And let me read out a passage from the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna that spoke about. He used to tell his devotees about King Janaka. Janaka was unattached. That is why he is known by the name Videha. Videha is he had no consciousness of the body. He was performing everything, all the duties, but he was much beyond the consciousness of the body. He never gave importance to the fact that I am doing the work. No, that I-ness was never attached to any of the work that he did. He was performing his work as if it was the Lord's work, as if it was he was an instrument in the Lord's hand who was doing that work. He was totally unattached. Janaka was unattached. That's why he is known by the name Videha, which means he had no consciousness of the body. Though he lived in the world, he moved around in it like one liberated in this very life, like a Jivan Mukta. He was very much, he never negated his existence in the world. After all, he was a king. His entire kingdom depended on him. He never negated. He was very much part and parcel of that world at that point of time. But being in the world, he was not of it. He was, his entire behavior was like the one liberated. He never got attached to anything in his kingdom. But to be rid of body consciousness requires spiritual progress. It needs a lot of spiritual practice. And Janaka got this spiritual practice, tremendous spiritual practice he had, but not going in the cave and sitting in ice, doing japa and austerities. He did, he did everything, remaining in his kingdom. Janaka was a great hero, Sri Ramakrishna says. He wielded two swords, one of spiritual knowledge and the other of work. He was always fighting with two swords as if in his hand. One of the knowledge, one of the self realization, one knowing who am I, and the other sword constantly performing action. He didn't run away from his work, from his responsibility of doing that work as a king. He performed the work. He performed the work. He also had the knowledge. So he lived in the world as if fighting this world with two swords in his hand. One sword was the knowledge, the other sword, the karma. And that is what Sri Krishna has told Arjuna in this particular 20th shloka, quoting very much of the most practical example, the real example of King Janaka that performed the work like him, which is not impossible. That is what one should do. And in fact, doing such kind of work, you become an icon, you become a role model for all the generations to come. So that was Sri Krishna's wonderful advice to and teaching to Arjuna and to all of us. Let us not escape from whatever has come to our lot. Let us perform that action. Let us perform that karma. Let us perform that duty in the spirit of duty, in the spirit of Lord's duty, without getting attached to it. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Sri Ram Krishna. Jai Thakur. Jai Ma. Jai Swami.